President of the Old Seminole Heights Neighborhood Association. So welcome to tonight's chilly evening. I hope you all have either some wine or some good tea. It's definitely been a cold and rainy day, so perfect to talk about stormwater. As I drove up Ford Avenue, dodging pockets of water, as well as the pipes, which, for those who don't know, pipes is the roughly $3 billion being spent to redo the water pipes throughout the city. So Will, I'm going to turn it over to you. You've got a series of slides. I also just wanted to mention that Sonia Quineros from the city water department is online as a backup. And Nanette O'Hara, who's tied in with Will on the communication side, is participating as well. So thanks, ladies, for joining us. So Will, I'm going to go ahead and advance. You just tell me which direction you want to go.
Just a quick reminder that if anyone has comments or questions, please put them in the chat.
Okay, Will, and you're on mute, so you're ready to go.
Okay. Thank you guys for giving us a few minutes to present. My name is Will Stock. I'm the project manager for David Nelson Construction, and we're the contractor doing this work for the city of Tampa. As you guys are aware, this is the Southeast Seminole Heights Flooding Relief Project, and the purpose is to provide flooding relief in all three of the Seminole Heights neighborhoods. You can go to the next one. This is an overview of Crest Avenue coming up from the river. So this is showing one of the worst case scenarios for the different infrastructure that we're installing. About 70% of the project is getting either a 4x7 box culvert or a 72-inch to 60-inch storm drain pipe that will convey water from the different neighborhoods and surface streets all the way to the Hillsborough River. In the process of doing this, there are a lot of situations where we're having to relocate sanitary sewer, as well as relocate and install new water mains. You can go to the next one. So this is an overview of the project in its entirety. We're doing work all the way up as north to Hannah, doing work for the water main only on North Nebraska between Henry and Hannah. Doing work all the way on Central Avenue from Hannah all the way down almost to Osborne, as well as doing storm work from Central down Frierson and crest of the Hillsborough River. We've got a 72-inch micro board going underneath the I-275 at Caracas, and then we hop across Nebraska and continue doing storm and water main work all through the Southeast Seminole Heights neighborhood from Caracas all the way south to Chelsea. This is fine. We'll go to this slide. The main focus for our work right now is on Central Avenue south of Hillsborough, as well as working on Crest and at the Hillsborough River outfall in High Linear Park. We were originally looking at extending our work north of Hillsborough, but to be completely frank, we're having a lot bigger impact on traffic than with the high school being where it's at than what we originally thought we would. So we're cutting back our footprint and we're focusing on the areas we already have under construction so we can keep ourselves focused on the critical path and get more done in the areas we've got opened up right now before we move on to new areas. So these are the three areas we're going to be focused on here for the next couple months. The only other work we've really got coming up outside of these areas is the micro tunnel itself, which will be taking place on each side of I-275 on Caracas.
Hey, Will, this is Tim. Do you want to, since you have this slide up, the fact that the focus of the work, Central Ave, south of Hillsborough, the fact that, and maybe you'll talk about it later, the Central Avenue north of Hillsborough has been delayed?
Correct. Yes. We're not planning on going north of Hillsborough on Central here for probably 2 more months. In the meantime, we're going to be, as you said, focusing our work on Central Avenue between Osborne and Hillsborough. Again, we've had an outsized impact on traffic there on Central. So one of the issues we've been working with the school on is trying to mitigate some of the traffic congestion associated with the children being picked up and dropped off there at the high school. So one of the things we're going to do on Central to help mitigate that is we're going to take it from 2 lanes there in front of the high school down to 1 lane starting February 7th. This will stop people from being able to park on Central and will force traffic to have to keep moving continuously. We're going to have an off-duty police officer out there during school pickup hours, which is when the traffic seems to get the worst in the early afternoon, for the first little bit to keep things flowing and get people used to the new traffic pattern in there. So we're quite hopeful that that's going to solve some of the issues we've got with a high school pickup and drop off on Central and the surrounding streets, with Seminole and the other streets directly off of Central.
And I just want to do a shout out to Ms. Gray with the school board, as well as Nanette O'Hara for tag teaming over the Christmas holidays and working with the school board as well as Hillsborough High. That's been a pretty dangerous area, so we appreciate the extra attention there, Will. Thank you. I'll go to the next slide.
This is just a picture of a water main going in on Central Avenue. We already talked about what we're going to do to try to help traffic on this one. So I guess we can go to the next one on information. So just want to push this again for anyone out there that's looking for more information. We've got the Seminole Heights stormwater.com website. We've also got a dedicated email and hotline for the project as well, projectinfo@seminoleheightsstormwater.com. The hotline number is listed here as well. And we really encourage you guys to go onto the website and sign up for email alerts. We do press briefings as needed. Anytime we're making changes to traffic flows, we try to get all that stuff up there. Any changes to the maintenance of traffic flows, any other big ticket items coming up, we try to put that on there to keep everybody aware of what we've got going on. So if you go on there and you sign up for those alerts, it'll automatically push those to your email so that you don't have to constantly keep researching them, keep going back to the website.
I just want to put a pitch out for this information. We did have an incident south of Hillsborough, one of the cross streets. The specifics are not important, but the fact that your neighbors were out there on Facebook sharing information was very helpful. The homeowner was pretty distraught. She was brand new to the neighborhood and didn't really know what to do. So folks sort of pitched in quickly, and it was, I forget which holiday it tied into, but it was sort of one of those Friday afternoons before a long weekend. And they've circled back to the homeowner. There's going to be some repair work that needs to be done, and that'll all get taken care of. But all those people that are on this Zoom, I appreciate you helping out that family. So keep this information, the email and the hotline handy. Were you planning on talking at all about the additionally on the pipes project, or is that really somebody else's specialty?
Tim, that's the city. Yeah, that's a city. We can't.
Okay, all right.
Above
No, that's
our
fair.
pay grade here.
Yeah, understood. Sonia, I'll give you a chance if you're online, if you wanted to talk to that. And if not, we can pick up the pipes project at a future meeting.
Hey,
Hi,
Tim,
hi,
one
Tim.
other-
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to make one more pitch before I hang up with you guys. If you guys have any questions having to do with the DOT project that's happening out on 275 between I-4 and Hillsborough, there is a link to their website and their project information from our website as well. I believe I saw Adam on earlier with Consor, who is the FDOT rep for that DOT project. So Adam might be able to talk to that more if he has an opportunity to speak, but as a worst case scenario, you can access their project information through our website as well. We've got a link to them as well.
Okay, terrific. And was that Nanette that was speaking? Thanks for your presentation, by the way.
Thanks for inviting us. We're happy to do it and to, give you updates in the future as well. We're going to be here a while longer in the neighborhood.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, anybody else have, I know Lynn's pushed out the chat as a reminder. You can find that at the bottom of your screen if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move on.
I just wanted to follow up with you as to what you meant by this is Sonia, I'm sorry, with the water department, what you meant by the pipes project, because there is no singular pipes project. Pipes is a funding mechanism that is allowing us to improve water mains and replace water mains throughout the city, as well as improve, upgrade the infrastructure at the actual water treatment plant. So what did you mean when you say, did you wanted an update on the pipes?
So Sonia, as for a lay person, including me, we see a chart like what's on the screen here, and we see stormwater, we see water mains. In our mind, it all sort of is one and the same, as far as like my road's going to be torn up and I'm going to have to come up with another route. So I do understand it's different departments, it's different funding streams. So I just wanted folks to be aware, I think Nebraska is a good example up there at the north. That's all water. So independent of the stormwater project, I just wanted folks to be aware that, there's lots of different departments all operating at the same time in the neighborhood, as well as FDOT on the interstate, which we're going to hear about next. And then other departments doing work as well. So I just wanted folks to try to get that clear in their mind. That was really my intent.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Tim, I can speak on that briefly here with this slide. The different portions of the project that you see here in blue, we have, it's a little bit complicated, but we have two different contracts that fall under the same contract with the city. All the streets in blue are projects where we're replacing water main only, and that is being funded, I believe, through the pipes funding initiative.
That is correct. Pipes funds water and wastewater initiatives, and we'll be doing so for the next 20 years.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, thanks folks for taking time out of your evening to give us an update. I'm going to go ahead and move on to
Thank you.
the FDOT update, and that's going to be by Adam Klienstiver. So Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I know I just put this up to give people a sense, and then we're going to flip over to, if we can figure out the technology. This is a hyperlink to the actual project site. So I'm going to bring that up because that's where folks can, and Lynn, can you confirm you can see the actual website? Hold on just a second. Okay, so it should be on the screen now.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the name of the project. Again, you'll provide an update here. We just wanted to point out, if folks go to this website up here at the top, and then they click on this blue button, I did that a number of months ago, and every time Hillsborough was going to be shut down at night for some work, I will get an email. And of course, that's open to anybody. So I would encourage you all, those who are interested, to go ahead and request those email alerts. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll on down here.
Yes, sir. Tim, real quick, go back. If you go back up, if you click on these links, anyone who went to any of the open houses, these are all links to some of that material that was on the walls. There's a couple videos about the project as well. So that's a good source of information. Especially the one, seems like a lot of people are interested in the aesthetics of the job. There's one specific for aesthetics.
Okay, that's a great point. So again, I think FDOT's trying to push information out. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but this is the aesthetics information that was just mentioned. So here's a kind of an overview, and I'll just let you tell me which direction you want to go.
Yeah, so right here, we're looking at the northern portion of the project. So that's Hillsborough Avenue. You can see we're started shaping out the pond, and we've started the lime rock for the widening of the ramp. Temporary widening for that ramp that needs to be reconstructed. Also at Hillsborough, we've started taking some of the slope pavement out underneath the interstate. I don't think they've started any of the tieback wall there in that location yet. If you scroll down, Tim, here we have MLK. Well, scroll back up just a hair. This one here, this is MLK. We've started doing some of the temporary ramp widening here as well. And also took out the slope pavement on at this location on the south side of the road. So the goal is to work all the south side of the road and then get it completed, and then work the north sides of the roadways underneath the interstate, while also doing the widening. The phasing is going to take place working from the southern portion of the project on the east side of the road. So move up from Florabraska to Hillsborough, and then back around, coming southbound down the west side of the interstate. And if you scroll up, Tim, the next pictures are, or I'm sorry, down. The next pictures are of that's Florabraska. We're actually doing a lot of work here. We're getting ready to drive pile at the southeast end bent. That should take place either late this week or early next week. We've also completed the gravity wall at this location, as well as Lake, Osborne, and Chelsea.
Hey, Adam, I'm going to jump in just because we got a quick question.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I was wondering this myself on this image of going northbound on the interstate, exiting to ultimately go westbound on Hillsborough. It almost appears like there's going to be a double exit or a double lane exit. I don't think that's the case. They're just rebuilding this to make it a little less severe of an off ramp. Is that correct?
When we widen the footprint of the interstate, we have to reconstruct a portion of the ramp. So in order to reconstruct that portion of the ramp, we've built all this. That's temporary widening that you see there. We'll put some temporary asphalt down, and then we'll put traffic on the temporary ramp to reconstruct the new ramp, and then the temporary work will come back out.
Okay, thanks for clarification. So you were talking about the southbound 275, and this will be the flyover to I-4 eastbound.
Yeah, we won't be doing work there until probably late 2023 would be or late 2022, early 2023 is when I think the temporary walls go in, but we won't be completed there until late 2023. We will start doing some bridge demo here at Florabraska in the next couple of weeks, as well as starting to put in drilled shaft foundations for the intermediate piles or intermediate bents. And then we'll continue. Actually, they're doing demo work behind the barrier wall that we just installed. They'll also continue installing barrier wall northbound, so that we can facilitate the widening for the project. And then in order to, so a lot of people are interested in when are the sound walls going up. Unfortunately, sound walls have to occur after, since we're not putting them at the edge of the right of way, we're putting them on the barriers. We have to widen the interstate first. So we have to do drainage activities, widening, permanent walls, temporary walls, permanent walls, before we can put the barrier walls back in place and then put the sound walls on top of the barrier walls.
Okay, and then we got another question about trees, which I know that really ties into landscape, which is a completely separate contract. You explained that to me the other day.
Yes, sir.
But let's circle back to trees. The question specifically was all the trees that had existed there inside the Hillsborough roundabout that were removed. But I realize that's part of this project or a separate contract, but if you will touch on that later, that was also a check question. I'm going to keep on moving through the slides and let's
Yeah.
get to the tieback of the walls.
Yeah, so here's some gravity wall that we've installed. I think this is at Lake. I think that's at Lake. And this is, you're going to see similar treatments at Osborne, Chelsea, and Florabraska, similar to what you see here with the gravity wall. We still got to put back the slope that we took out, and we need to pour back the sidewalk, the new wider sidewalks. So that's all work that's forthcoming here in the next couple months.
This is Florabraska right here.
Yeah, that looks like Florabraska. I don't think we've really started too much work. Is that the? It's hard to see.
Yeah, this would be Florabraska on the south side.
Yeah, so yes, that's where we're doing a lot of work right now. We just finished up the gravity wall over there on the southeast side is where we'll be driving the pile. I believe this is the southwest side. We do have some drainage work that's ongoing. We'll be pouring back the sidewalks and slopes in this section here in the next couple months as well. Bridge demo is scheduled to start like mid-February. Anytime we do bridge demo, we'll have to do that at night. That's unfortunately it'll be a little noisy, but it should only be for a couple of nights at each location. And it's because we have to do it at night because we can't work over live traffic. So we have to close down the road, and we're only allowed to do lane closures between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m.
I don't know if you wanted to talk to these.
These are all the older aerial images before we really started. I think a lot of these pictures will stay on the website so that people can get the kind of timeline of how the project's progressing. Are there any other questions related to construction?
Yeah, let me, okay, so what I'm going to do is pop out of the website and go back to the slideshow. Hold on a second. Okay, so again, for the folks that are watching at home, check out that magic. The items that we just walked through are in that hyperlink in the bottom right corner. And as a reminder, this is being recorded, so we'll have it out on the YouTube channel later. But I did include some slides, so not to try to keep you or catch you unaware, but
yeah. And anytime questions get asked through the website that are construction related, those end up coming to my office, and me or one of my staff will be answering those questions.
Okay. So what I did, Adam, is I grabbed some images from a previous presentation because I know you wanted to talk about sound walls. So hopefully this will be helpful. Here's some examples of the sound walls.
Yep. So the top picture there you're seeing is an example of what the sound wall will look like on an MSE wall. And then the bottom picture is an example of what the sound walls will look like on the interstate side. This graphic kind of shows where 8-foot walls versus 14-foot walls are going. The difference in height is purely from if it's going on a MSE wall or a panel wall like you see there, those have to be 8 foot. If it's going on dirt, we're building it on the earth, then it's going to be a 14-foot wall.
Okay, just to clarify, MSC stands for?
Mechanically stabilized earth.
Okay. All right. I know there's a lot of discussion, our neighbors to the south, that battle, if you want to call it that, is still ongoing regarding Robles Park and the lake, which is just north of Florida, Nebraska. So I know the folks in Tampa Heights have engaged FDOT at length. And for those who are closely following this, you see that there's no sound wall there right now. That's still, last I heard, still being discussed. None of this comes free. Otherwise, we'd already probably have it. So the money's got to come from somewhere. Obviously, these contracts are convoluted already. So I just wanted to point that out. The next slide I grabbed was we're going to get some upgraded lighting on the underpass. This is just an example. Adam, did you want to speak to this at all, or do you want to keep going?
No, if you want to get a good idea of what you're looking at here, that's actually at Cypress underneath the I-275. So if any of you are driving around in the area, that's what this is a picture of. Just
okay, and then the bottom right corner, you could see what's part of a sloped wall. That's largely going to be going away. So we're going to get wider sidewalks, and of course the upgraded lighting.
Yeah, they were trying to show how the upgraded lighting is going to be mounted to the back of the column up top.
And then on this one, it's a good image of, I know this is I-4 or 275 slash, actually this is
yeah, so the top picture is 275 between the river and down and State Road 60, and then the bottom picture, that looks like it's probably somewhere on I-4. It looks like 22nd Street exit ramp.
but that just shows in the historic area where we're going to get something that sort of looks like brick, at least with color. So we'll keep going. This is you call it gravity wall, and then upgraded fencing, so we'll less of the chain link. So this is just, again, this is a notional image.
It's a graphical representation. It's pretty close to what it'll look like when we're done. Not completely correct, but pretty close.
And then I know this is something quite a few people have asked about, is when will we have an opportunity to engage the city on, this would be like where Hillsborough is.
Yeah, Hillsborough and Osborne get the art by the city of Tampa. That's going to be done by a separate contract through the city of Tampa. They're the one that's engaging the artists that'll be doing that work. Additionally, the stamp that's going to get stamped into the sidewalk is, I believe it's currently under review with the city. We need to probably put those in August is when the contractor will be ready to stamp the sidewalks.
Let me just weave some questions in off of the chat.
Sure.
One of the folks who follows us very closely asks about the sound walls being built to the edge of the right-of-way. Can you clarify that, where the sound wall is actually going to be located?
Yeah, it's not going to be at the edge of the right-of-way. It's going to be on the edge of the barrier, the shoulder barriers for the interstate.
Okay, so if I was traveling up the interstate, let's say northbound, the emergency lane would be to my immediate right, and then immediately further right would be a sound wall.
Correct.
Okay.
If you a good example of this would be that 275 project we did from downtown to State Road 60.
Okay. And then another question was regarding, do you have any insights on Florida, Nebraska? Again, that's a little further south of our area. We end at MLK to the south. There was supposed to be a complete street project going in at Florida, Nebraska. Do you have any insights on that?
That would probably be a city project. That's not something that it's a city road, and I don't have any information on that project.
Okay. Okay, we'll engage the city on that one. I think that's a big Beatty and his crew. And then I think one more question, then I'll let you keep going, is, for a number of years, we've had the stance that we don't want the interstate widened. And we've always been told that what is happening is occurring inside the existing envelope. So is that accurate throughout all of 275, all the way down to the I-4 downtown interchange, or is FDOT needing to take additional footprint?
I'm not sure what was meant by the existing envelope. We are staying within the existing right of way. A lot of the areas that had slopes that sloped away from the interstate are now going to get MSE walls. So you still kind of stay within the existing footprint of the sloped areas of the interstate, if that's what the question's asking.
Yeah, I know sometimes, and I don't even understand all of this myself. The terminology gets challenging. So existing right of way as opposed to footprint is what they're asking. Is FDOT needing to expand beyond the existing right of way?
For this project, we will be working within the existing right of way only. We will not be taking any additional right of way.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Somebody asked about the stamp. I think what they're referring to here is, maybe stamp's not the right word. It's sort of like a cartouche or some kind of an image, sort of like you see on all of the manhole covers, with the Tampa's ship. I'm stretching myself here. The cootie, I think, is called. So we don't know exactly what that stamp or cartouche or image is going to be, but we have asked that Adam and the rest of the team give us an opportunity to work with the city and at a future town hall type meeting, perhaps at the Garden Center or library, to provide our input as to what we think would be appropriate in our historic neighborhood. I think we already talked about that. This is just kind of a recap for everybody. Again, there's the hyperlink, and right there you could see where you could sign up to receive emails. Adam, is there any other information? I do have a couple other slides, but anything else you'd like to discuss right at this point?
I don't think I have anything else, Tim.
Okay.
If you guys, you've got my information, so if anybody wants to funnel questions to you, I'm more than happy to answer it at any time. So
okay, I appreciate that. Let me just
I just want to remind people that we're not going to call on people, so please put your comments in chat.
Yeah, if you're putting your hand up, we're not looking at that. Sorry, we just can't do it that way. Just as a reminder, and Adam, I'm not expecting you to talk to this. There are other projects as well. One of the biggest ones that folks might be aware of is the operational improvements at the DTI, adding a second southbound flyover that would then head you out towards Orlando eastbound. Same thing coming in westbound on I-4, heading north on 275. There's going to be a second lane added there. The folks in Tampa Heights and BMEBOR and others are closely working with FDOT on this. If you're interested in jumping into that, certainly shoot me a note, or Lynn or Mauricio, and we'll point you to the folks that are working on it. These are examples that we grabbed of what could be on a cartouche or something that could be adding to the aesthetic nature. They are going to be putting these at West Shore. This is Ebor, and each one of these is unique. Obviously, it takes a lot of money, a lot of time. You got to find an artist, but certainly we would advocate for that in our area. So last chance. Yep, go ahead.
Tim, having worked on the 275 project, where we actually did a lot of those, they're called the medallions. They do try to make each of them unique to each area and try to make them specific. So You
Yeah,
guys,
I
I
got
think
my,
the goal here at 14th, 15th Street was to try to save the ones that are there when that project's built, but that may not be possible. So they may need to fabricate new ones.
okay. Okay, medallions, thank you. Adam, great job. I know it's tough. It's really tough to do it in a virtual environment. So we appreciate you coming out tonight and taking the time away from your family to give us an update. So we're right on time. I'm going to let you go and we're going to move on to Mauricio. I think you're online and I know then Myron, you are going to be talking next. So I put this slide together for Mauricio if you want to unmute yourself and just speak to this.
Hey everybody, good evening. So yeah, the Heights Mobility Project is still moving forward. In fact, it's moving forward a little bit more. There was recently a charrette, and I think we all remember the charrettes that was for the Tampa Heights area. So it literally, that charrette is literally just focused on Palm Avenue, south of Palm Avenue, down to the DTI. There will be another charrette or community meeting once they start moving north of Palm Avenue. So don't fret that we haven't gotten any input yet for that particular set of charrettes. The pictures that he has here, one of the things that's happening is we've got a hard signal crosswalk on Wilder. There's another one coming up on Idlewild. And basically these hard crosswalks is actually going to be a stop sign. So, you know, when somebody's there and they want to cross, it's going to be green, yellow, red. So cars have to stop. It's not like the ones on Fletcher that are basically, you know, just bright lights. And we just found out today that there's been additional funding to put in 4 more of these crosswalk stops. It has not been determined exactly where, but we do have the funding and 4 locations are being looked at. So we'll have more traffic safety in that area. The other picture of Central Avenue upgrades, the only thing that I have to add to this is that within the planning of bicycle boulevards, there is a bicycle boulevard that is funded for Ola Avenue, and it'll go from basically from Sly all the way down to Waterworks Park. Central Avenue, not funded yet, but it is in the process. Central Avenue will also have a dedicated bike lane all the way down into Tampa. I think it'll go just south of Columbus Avenue, and then from there it'll connect to other streets. So that's something that's in the pipelines, and I'm excited about seeing that happen. The other there are a couple other cycle tracks that are going on. The city is actively looking for east-west connections. It just so happens I've been briefly working with Myron, Griffin, and the Green Artery had proposed a bike route on Chelsea. So because Tyndall Oliver has supported this, we're going to continue to pursue making Chelsea a complete street, getting those sidewalks in, getting that bike route in, because we need Chelsea to be a much better road. And it is one of the safest roads that you can go on if you're going east to west in our area. And it's a connector that would connect the east side of the Green Artery to the west side of the Green Artery. So this is something that we are actively pursuing. We meaning you. When I ask you guys to please call your commissioner, city council, please do so. It's very important that they hear what we have to say. Do you have any other slides? If you don't, that's fine.
Mauricio, let me just jump in the chat window for those who are online. Mauricio, I was a number of folks got really frustrated with speeding in the neighborhood 4 or 5 years ago and started up a Facebook group called Heights. I just fell out of my head. What is it called, Mauricio?
It's Heights. Heights.
Traffic awareness. Heights Traffic Awareness Campaign. So
thank you very much.
Yeah. So the I don't want to click on the hyperlink. It's in the chat window. if you all want to jump on that and you can join up. Mauricio does a terrific job of putting pictures where there are concerns. That group has been successful in getting Violet redone down in South Seminole Heights. It was not intended as an OSHNA only group. So we worked with Hampton Terrace, we've worked with South Seminole Heights, Southeast Seminole Heights to get four-way stops put in, four-way stop signs put in. So it's really been a greater Seminole Heights effort. Again, it's Heights traffic awareness campaign, and Mauricio is kind of the one-armed paper hanger there. So if you have time to support him, I know he would really appreciate it. So I'm going to move on. The next chart is the green artery, and I know we wanted to move over to Myron.
Excuse me, Tim, can I answer one of the questions?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so concern about Central Avenue. So part of the stormwater project on Central Avenue does include modalities to slow down traffic. I don't have them here, but you can go onto the stormwater website and you can see what I do believe you'll able to see what the final product might look like. There will be medians. There's going to be a bike boulevard as well. So there are going to be things there that will help slow down traffic. Will it help slow down traffic today? Will it help slow down traffic north of Hillsborough Avenue? Not yet. But it is something that is coming. If anybody would like to bring more activism to the speeding in our area, I'm more than open to having what we had before, were some speed rallies. They were rather effective, getting attention and getting the city to do something. So if your area is of concern, please just get in touch with me and we'll see what we can do. All right. Thank you.
Additionally, before we move on to our next speaker, I just wanted to say that anyone who's presenting tonight, and Tim and Mauricio, if you pass me those websites you're talking about, when I put this up on YouTube tomorrow, I can include these links to all of these sites for people.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, will do. That sounds good. Thanks, Mauricio. So we also have a neighbor, Myron Griffin, who's been here quite a number of years, used to be tied into OSHNA. I think he was the green space chair, has done a lot of work over the years. He pushed for Nebraska Avenue south of Hillsborough to get a road diet. So that's why you see less speeding on Nebraska, again, south of Hillsborough, with the brick treatment on the road, where you can make, if you're heading southbound, you can make a left-hand turn, sort of get out of the lane of traffic. For example, where the Old Heights Bistro is. So another thing that he was instrumental in getting the city's attention is something called the Green Artery. So for those who are new, it is exactly what it looks like. It's a loop around the city. And Myron, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I can go to your everybody can go to your image at your house, or you can speak to this. What's your preference?
Yes, if you would put me on my house, please.
Just give me a second.
Did you hear me, Tim?
Yeah,
ahead.
we aren't going to be able to see you individually. It would be better to see this image.
Okay, well, I have that image also right by here, and I can point to it. I have
Yeah, Myron, just
flow of that.
give me a second. We're going to try to figure this out.
There you go.
So Myron, go ahead and start, and we'll see how this works.
Okay, I'm seeing my image very small on my screen, but are you all seeing me full screen?
Hold on one second.
No, that's not possible.
All right, how about now?
Nope.
No, nope.
Hold on one second. So Myron, go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, I was hoping to have the map up in front of me, but the Green Artery is about 10 years old now. It actually started in Old Seminole Heights as the Seminole Heights Trail, and it was really gaining momentum, and someone introduced me to Lena Green, in Tampa Heights, we got together and decided that we were going to join our two neighborhoods with a trail. And before you knew it, everybody in between wanted to be a part of this trail. And lo and behold, it just grew like a meteor. And we now have a path about 20 miles along, and it's in central Tampa. And it pretty much follows
Myron,
those-
can you speak up? No one can hear you.
Okay, I'll try to speak louder. The Seminole, the Green Artery, we're going to utilize the river walk. Can you hear me now?
It's better.
It's
Tim,
better.
we still can't see any imagery.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm working on it. Go ahead, Myron, and give us the backstory, and I'll try to get on the screen.
okay. We are taking advantage of already existing trails and pathways. So the best place to start would be the river walk in downtown Tampa. That's completed, and that will be part of the Green Artery. Starting from Armature Works, basically the Green Artery sets out and follows the river on the Seminole Heights side, passing through beautiful neighborhoods, picking up a park here and there, and following the river until we get up to Ignacio Haya Park, a lovely linear park that takes us up to Hillsborough Avenue. The trail goes underneath Hillsborough Avenue and crosses the Hillsborough River at that point. The Green Artery Trail will then again follow the river and end up at Lowry Park on the river side and Zoo Tampa on the left side. So that's going to be a real big feature of the Green Artery as it connects our wonderful zoo. It continues up Boulevard, again, following the river as closely as it can. And there's even a possible river crossing somewhere around Sly, but that would be an entirely new bridge. That's just being talked about. Once we get up to Florida Avenue, we will have a crossing there, and then we will enter the Sulphur Springs Tower Park.
Can you speak up?
We will enter the Sulphur Springs Tower Park, and the trail will go through Tower Park, and it will go underneath Interstate 275, which that's already completed. It will emerge on the other side as a linear park and taking us up to the Sulphur Springs Pool Complex. From that point, we will cross the river, and now we're back into Seminole Heights, and it will follow the river along Park Circle and down into eventually the 22nd Street Park. This is a pretty much undeveloped park at this point, but the Green Artery will pass through that park. It's a riverfront park, so we could get some good river views, and it goes up to the south and basically follows alongside of Rogers Park Golf Course and heads south through East Tampa, kind of moving back and forth across 30th Street up, and then we will cross Hillsborough Avenue at, I believe, 30th with a crossing. It will continue going south. We will go underneath I-4. We will go underneath the Crosstown Expressway. We will go into Palmetto Beach, and there we can pick up another great park, the McKay Bay Reserve, and there's a great nature walk that can go through an undeveloped area down there. That's just something that's going to be a great feature.
Hey, Myron, this is Tim. Let me interrupt 1 second. So in the chat, for those who are having a hard time hearing Myron, if you will turn up your personal volume on your device, your phone or your computer, you should be able to hear him much clearer. And Myron, you're fine. No, not you, everybody else. And Myron, you sound fine. On this chart, which is on the screen, one of the questions that was asked is how much of this is complete? And my understanding is there's very few segments that are actually done. The All for Transportation 1% sales tax was supposed to have funded portions of it. And then the other question was regarding the light green east-west and the trail that is up by the Rogers Golf Course. If you could speak to that.
Okay, let's go up to the Rogers Park Golf. Can you hear me better? I turned up my volume. Can you?
Yes,
hear me better?
yes, we can hear you.
Good. Okay. let's go back up to Rogers Park Golf Course. That is an area where the kind of turquoise trail, as you can see, once it gets to Rogers Park, it kind of heads south and goes over and does not go up into the Rogers Park area. I just would love to see that be a part of the Green Artery, and you will see that there what appears to be a trail running along the river's edge there. That would be directly by the Rogers Park Golf Course, but it's my understanding that the Tampa Sports Authority has really slammed the door and said, no, you are not bringing a trail through our golf course. That's why you see the turquoise trail going down south and leaving that alone. I would love to see that pushed, because when we flew down Ryan Gravel from Atlanta and I drove him around the course and I showed him the golf course and I told him that they said we couldn't go through there. He said, don't believe it. We did it in Atlanta. As long as you put some sort of a barrier, a protective fence or whatever, to where people can't get hit by golf balls, it can be done. So let's push for that, because there's some beautiful, beautiful vistas up in there. That's where the dam is, and you can see that the river gets very wide, almost like a lake. And I mean, the views are just spectacular. The other side of the river would be Rowlett Park, and then it comes down, and there's a wonderful place called the Blackwater Hammock, which is the most unspoiled, beautiful piece of territory left in the center city. And I really would like to see that connected. That's something we're going to have to push for, because, like I said, Tampa Sports Authority is pushing back on that. Now, the other area you were talking about was what?
Hey, Myron. So we have some new folks in the group. It would help just for you. I know you can't point, but for those who are listening, Rogers Golf Course is up in the northeast section of the neighborhood, where you can see the river really widens out. It almost looks like a dragon. And then the other question was related to how much of this 22+ mile project has been finished.
Yes, there are several areas that are actually finished. Riverwalk being one, Ignacio Heya Park. Those who live in South Seminole Heights are quite aware of that we've already got an existing sidewalk and a beautiful riverfront linear park. Basically, those towers, the Sulphur Spring Tower Park has got a completed, not on the west side, but on the east side. As it goes under the interstate, you've got a nice boardwalk under there, and then there is a completed sidewalk that goes along the river and into the pool complex there. So that's completed. And that is about the only areas that are completely ready to go. Everything else has to be built. But I do want to take you south now, down. If you look, find the Rogers Park Golf Course and follow it due south, meaning go to the bottom, and you will see that we end up in a neighborhood called Palmetto Beach. It's a lovely little historic neighborhood, and it has got a walkway that runs along the side of McKay Bay. I think that's the old McKay Bay. It's Bermuda Drive, beautiful, beautiful views out over McKay Bay. And there is also a reserve down there, the McKay Bay Reserve. And there's a beautiful trail that you can walk around inside of there. And we want that definitely to be a part of the Green Artery. That's just a proposal at this point. Once we get to the bottom of the map, you'll see that it comes to a point. At that point, you pick up 22nd Street coming in off the causeway. That's already completed, that sidewalk segment there from the bottom of the map up to basically IKEA. And then we go under the interstate. We follow Adamo Drive over to the Channel Side area. Channel Side area, you pick up the Riverwalk, and then you end up downtown where you've got restrooms and museums and the convention center. We pick up the aquarium over in Channel Side. There are restrooms at the Lowry Park area. I think we'll make arrangements for the restrooms that we could use at Sulphur Springs Tower Park. Right now it's for the pool people, but I think that will change to where that can be a restroom stop. There will be signage at the locations whenever you reach commercial type areas. That will be up to the city, that will show you where you've got convenience stores, restaurants, or areas that bicyclists and pedestrians might want to visit. And this is a big deal, folks. I mean, this is something that is really great that we are getting this accomplished before Tampa grows anymore. I remember Pam Iorio was our mayor several years ago, quite a while ago, and I said, I want to do an inner city trail, and she said, forget it. She said, it's too late. It's impossible. It can't be done. You'll have to go out to the rural areas. But we have shown that it can be done. It's going to be done, and we could break ground on it. There's many areas of funding that we're looking to break loose. As Tim mentioned, if the 1% sales tax had been passed, we'd be building the Green Artery right now. The first section that will be completed, and probably a ribbon cutting ceremony, will be the Tower Park area, maybe by the gazebo there. But look for it coming. It's time to get excited. This is really going to be a big deal.
Okay, Myron, I'm going to jump in. So again, the intent of tonight was to give everybody a refresher. We've got a lot of new folks that have moved into the neighborhood. This is a long running effort. A lot of people have put significant amount of time, including Myron, but there's others. So if you want all that backstory, you could certainly tie in with Myron. Some of the other questions were, I don't feel safe at the River Tower Park. I mean, if you imagine this route, let's say it existed today, lots and lots of people on it, demanding upgraded lighting, demanding water stations and bike repair stations, not demanding, requesting would be a better word. That would increase the security that, more eyes on the trail. We know how that works. So I think that answers all the questions regarding this. Again, please go to the chat for everyone. There's a lot of people putting information in there that I was not even aware of, and I appreciate that. Back to Mauricio, again, it's the Facebook group is Heights Traffic Awareness Campaign. There's some folks sending me private messages about how do I get people to slow down on my particular street, or some of the major roads like Central Florida, Nebraska. I kind of have to redirect everybody to Mauricio. We do have a brand new City of Tampa Vision Zero coordinator. She happens to live in Seminole Heights. She has reached out to us recently. Again,
she actually lives in Tampa Heights, but she's still very responsive.
Okay.
Tim, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Myron. So anyway, I'm going to move on to another topic, but thank you, Myron, for taking the time to show this to us. Again, we'll put the point of contacts for the speakers into the notes, as well as on the YouTube video when it's up there. Lynn mentioned that, as well as the hyperlinks.
Tim, I've got two more topics that I just wanted to mention very, very briefly.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, both Mauricio and I are working very, very closely with FDOT on a beautification and improvement effort on the Hillsborough Avenue corridor. And I just wanted you to know that we're making real progress on that, and we're working with the Tampa CRA, and we're really looking to improve Hillsborough Avenue. Another thing is, recently the Funland Drive-In closed unexpectedly, very quickly, and a lot of people were put out of work. A lot of dealers were put out of work. A lot of people that shop there that can't afford to go to retail stores were left in the lurch. And Mauricio and I are working very diligently with the City of Tampa and other entities to find an alternate site to make a city marketplace. That's it. Okay.
Okay, terrific. I'll turn my video back on. So Myron, thanks very much for that. The concept he mentioned about Hillsborough Avenue, he's nicknamed that HARP, Hillsborough Avenue Renaissance Project. Maybe it'll stick, maybe it won't. Myron and I, and of course Mauricio, have talked extensively about that. He's already met with the FDOT officials. And could you imagine entering in Town and Country and going all the way out to the casino along a corridor that actually was clean and maybe had some art and some beautification efforts, maybe some medians that actually had some color and it wasn't just shades of gray. that would be phenomenal. So thanks for that. And of course, Funland, I know your heart's in the right spot to work with those folks. So thanks again. I'm going to transition over to another topic, the Pure project. We've got Phil Compton, also a Seminole Heights resident, with the Sierra Club, and hopefully you're still on, Phil.
I sure am.
Okay, and I took some liberty here. I know you're Friends of the River Sierra Club, but I also through League of Women Voters.
Absolutely.
That's the trifecta of folks that have been putting literally thousands of hours into understanding what the city is trying to do. Previously told it to TAP, rebranded it to Pure, and so over to you.
Okay, and just want to give you a quick update. What is Pure? It's a proposed water recycling project. It will redirect up to 50 million gallons a day of highly treated reclaimed water from the city's advanced water treatment plant that's currently going into Tampa Bay, in Hillsborough Bay. So what's going on right now? Next week, February 3rd, city staff will go before city councils to ask for money for the project. Go back to the next previous slide, if you would, please. It's important to understand that although the city appears to be leaning strongly towards one of three alternatives, out of 9, no final choice has been made. These 3 alternatives are discharge to the river to meet the minimum flow and resale of the remainder to third parties, maybe other counties, aquifer recharge and recovery to the reservoir, or maybe a combination of those. Friends of the River, Tampa Bay Sierra Club, Hillsborough County League of Women Voters will continue our discussion with the city to ensure that the most environmentally friendly, safest, and least intrusive solution is found for disposal of Tampa's 50 million gallons of wastewater. As you know, this treated wastewater currently ends up in Tampa Bay. Last July, Governor DeSantis signed into law a bill prohibiting utility departments throughout the state from releasing treated wastewater into open water, like we're doing now, like we've done for years, and required them to find a beneficial use for the wastewater. At this point, after more than a year of serious discussion with city staff, we continue to have many questions and concerns. We've shared these with the mayor, city staff, and members of city council, but we have decided to support the 2 current requests for funding that will be brought before city council next Thursday. One is for a cooperative funding project agreement with the city and SwiftMud, which is a placeholder request filed this time so that the city can go later and ask SwiftMud to help pay for the project. The other is for a little over 1.1 million for professional services from PCL Construction for the initial phase of the Pure project. The city chose PCL to develop and execute whatever the final approved version of Pure eventually will be. The initial phase of this project involves investigations in advance of the detailed design, construction, and operation of Pure. This initial agreement provides for a lot of different things like project management, alternative selection, stakeholder engagement, public outreach, regulatory coordination, conceptual design development, delivery of a preliminary design report. The bulk of that money will be spent to explain to people like you why the city is doing this and what they plan to do. This phase is supposed to last the next 6 to 8 months. Presumably, following public input from people like you, the city will start the process of deciding on a final version of Pure. This phase represents your chance to become involved and share your questions and opinions with city staff. We will continue to provide information as it becomes available, and we encourage everyone to participate. We still need extensive study of the various alternatives for reuse of wastewater under the new state statute and meeting minimum flows for the Hillsborough River. We're still worried about using aquifer storage and recovery for treated wastewater, as we're concerned about the quality of water and the volume of water that may be pumped into the aquifer in Seminole Heights, along with concerns about the impact of putting this water into the river below the dam or into the river's reservoir above it. We do believe it is extremely important for the city to be funded now to reach out to the public to explain and respond to the many questions that remain, even with us, and will need to be answered prior to approval of a final version of the Pure project. Okay, go to the next slide, please now. Okay, so this is what we're asking people to do and consider in order for the project to move forward. And remember, it's moving forward in phases. Each phase will be approved at that particular point. So it's not like what's happening next Thursday, it means the whole thing goes forward and there's nothing you can do about it. But we think there are a lot of things that have to happen. The city needs to establish water quality standards, targets. We don't have these standards for a lot of the chemicals that are in the treated wastewater that's going into the bay now, before it's either injected into the aquifer or the river or provided for direct potable supply. before it gets into your drinking water. What is safe? And build a prototype of the water treatment process that the city identifies to ensure that it really does produce results that meet water quality standards. Okay, don't just say, well, we've modeled it or it worked somewhere else. It worked somewhere else on different kind of water. It has to be tested with this water, with all the chemicals, with all the contaminants that are present in that water. Justify the need for the alternatives selected by the city for the project and determine what the true cost of the Pure project will be and what the impact will be on utility rates for Tampa residents, because it looks pretty clear that there's going to be an impact on your rate. So we really think that it's important that this project only move forward through several subsequent incremental approvals at various steps along the way, if and only these criteria have been satisfied. Next slide, please. So what does it cost? We did some estimates because the city hasn't really provided much, but they've given us some clues that we ran with in terms of what's the 30-year life cycle cost. If you divide it by 12, divide it by 170,000 people, then what we're doing now, hey, $7.50, right? Deep well injection, 13. Infrastructure to increase supply from Tampa Bay water, which is one alternative, $14, not so much. Aquifer recharge and recovery to the Hillsborough River Reservoir, that's what the city is favoring. That happens to be one of the most expensive ways you could go. So again, these numbers are only estimates, but it looks like there could be a very significant impact to everyone's monthly cost. And so we hope that these numbers can be become a little more sharply defined and that people become aware of what the cost will be and what that's going to do to our city. Next slide, please. So we're asking you to not only get involved in the next 6 to 8 months, but now you can write to city council and the mayor because they are going to vote on funding. And yeah, we're for this funding. Don't get us wrong, but we really think it's important to make 4 points. Tampa must investigate water supplies that don't require Tampa citizens to drink recycled wastewater. There are ways to assure Tampa's future water supply without requiring that we drink recycled wastewater. For instance, you know that half of the water that is in our drinking water supply goes to watering our lawns. Are we doing everything we could do for conservation? I don't think so. All alternatives must be explored fully, including safety, cost and risk, and the risk to future generations, and explained in advance of any city decision to the citizens of Tampa. Recycling wastewater is much more expensive, it's now pretty clear, than conservation or buying from Tampa Bay Water. Drinking wastewater, we believe, should only be a last resort after all other options are exhausted. It looks like to us, in talking to the city, and they've been very transparent and very good in meeting with us and giving us all the information that we've requested, but it looks like the city has its mindset on a certain course, which has some risk. These risks could be alleviated through treating this water properly, but treating the water to get it to deliver a safe product for us all looks like it's going to be very expensive. So that's where our concerns are. Next slide. So some of you probably already know this, but if you want to contact council and Mayor Castor, email tampacitycouncil@tampagov.net. And then you can get their individual contacts and phone numbers by going to that website. Again, look it up, Google it, and then Mayor Castor's phone number is right there, 274-8251. So we really encourage you to get involved, share your concerns as you understand them now, and pay attention to what's going on in the next 6 to 8 months as this project does move forward. Again, the funding that's going forward on next Thursday, next week, February 3rd, is basically to allow the city to have the resources. So it's not just me talking to you, that the city tells you the real story and tells you what's going on, and you can ask the city what's going on and get your questions answered, because we have a lot of questions yet. Any questions tonight from y'all?
Phil, I'm going to jump in.
Yes.
So one of the questions that came in on the chat, and then I do want to acknowledge Chuck Weber, our water director. So the question that came in on chat is, with the significant influx and continuing for the foreseeable future influx of new residents, one of the aspects of Pure was to help drought-proof the area. And so the water department is sort of using that as a way to say, hey, we have to do this because we might run out of water.
Right.
Do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, for instance, you can see it in the Tampa Bay Times every day. Last year, we were about a third of an inch under average. So last year was a very average rainfall year, and we've been blessed in the last 5-10 years with above average or average rainfall. So we haven't had a drought in a long time. But again, if we're using half of our water for lawns, are we doing this the most effective way? Are we really serious about conservation? If we have treated wastewater that some people in some parts of town are using to water their lawns, whereas the rest of us have to use perfectly good drinking water to water our lawns, is that the most effective thing to do? Not saying that's the solution here or there. I'm just saying that all these alternatives, before you get into a project like this and make this commitment, need to be fully assessed, and people need to have their input into that.
Okay, that's exactly what I would have said. So good answer. The other piece of this, we had Chuck Weber, for those of us that remember the meeting back at the American Legion roughly 6 months ago, where I asked, what is this going to cost? And I said, we're talking billions. And he sort of chuckled and said, no. And some of our city council members have been kind of going after the water department and the city staff. And one of the points of clarification is sort of those who are inside the industry and people that are engineers and work on projects, and then the layperson. So to me, I'm a layperson. I want to know what's the total cost over 30 years, and it is in the billions. Whereas the water department says, well, no, you're just talking about capital costs. What does it cost to build the project, the reverse osmosis or the ion or whatever ends up being the solution? And that is in the hundreds of millions. So sometimes we have to be very careful to acknowledge which dollar figure are we talking about. And I just thought that was valuable for those who.
And that's why in that little table, Tim, that we have the 30-year cost estimate and then divide it by 170,000 and by 12 to come up with a monthly cost estimate of what that might turn out to look like in terms of how much more the water is going to cost.
Yeah, so I put that chart back up, and for those that are paying attention here, combo 3, which the city is pursuing, I mean, that is $3.3 billion, but that's over 30 years. So I just wanted to point that out for those who might want to talk to a city councilman or talk to the mayor. By the way, that's not her cell phone number. But nonetheless, the point is, get your voice heard. We're all authorized to do that. And we will be, of course, putting this information out on the Facebook page. As a reminder, this is going before council again, February
3rd, next Thursday.
Okay, so yes, right around the corner, folks.
So their council's paying attention to it. We're talking to council members. They're very interested in it. And we've heard different opinions from different council members. I'll just leave it at that this time. And, but again, cost is something that you can't sneeze at here. And are we going with the most cost-effective way of drought-proofing our town for the future?
Okay. So Phil, thanks to you and Nancy and John and so many others. I know from our team, Michael Gwynn and Bill Hunter, we're certainly paying attention to that. We just can't keep up with you all with the literally sometimes 3 times a week meetings. So thank you again. You put on a great boat parade this past December. We thoroughly enjoyed that. So thank goodness we've got that Hillsborough River as not just for water, but for recreation as well.
Right, and we want to support it with a minimum flow. And this water might be great for that, but we have to be careful about that. We don't want to do more harm than good by putting the water without treating it properly. We need a standard for what's safe for the fish and what's safe for you and me.
Correct. Okay, we'll keep tapping into you and the rest of the team's expertise as this evolves, because it is a multi-year project. So again, chat window's open for folks if you want to put questions out there. So next up is me, I guess. So we're going to keep going. Sorry, I'm a little technical difficulty there. I wanted to just thank all of you that came out for the holiday happy hour at the Christmas time frame. Lynn, you did a bang up job with that graphic on the right. And for the two board, well, Shirley's a board member. Kevin is just a one of our wonderful members. You guys really hit it out of the park with the desserts. The meal at the American Legion was fantastic. We had somewhere in the 60 to 70 range. It was hard to keep track of everybody's as they were coming and going. But keep it in mind for next year. It really was a great time. For those who are tracking the apartment complex, that is a project that is on the books up at Nebraska and Sly. We're certainly learning a lot about that area. It's actually considered a major node. And what that means is the city's view is that that should be high density or higher density. There's only a few major nodes in our area, and that's considered one of them. And it has to do with how close it is to the interstate on-ramp. So we, Heidi Bissell up in the Northeast has been working closely and has with the developer. We have another meeting coming up for those who are interested, February 8th. So they're 2/3 of the way down the slide. But after two discussions, the developer has already agreed to do a few things. I'm not going to read all those to you. But most significant, I think, is the affordable housing 10% setback, which is significant, especially in our area. They presented to City Council right about the same time. Daryl Shaw presented his vision for Gasworks, which is an area that's going to go between Water Street and Ybor. And a lot of brick facade, a lot of heavy landscaping, very attractive. So the developer happened to see that, and that's why they switched their facade from a modern to a more Ybor brownstone is what they're calling it look, which certainly would fit in with Seminole Heights. I mean, you can't build a 4-story bungalow, but you can at least try to make it attractive. Really appreciate the fact that they want to include Evelyn. Evelyn City was a previous name for that part of our area. So again, if you're interested, 7th Sun Brewing is going to be hosting 6:30 on February 8th. We've got Patrick Thorpe and Josh Frank, as well as a few other local experts in the urban planning world who have been contributing to that. So we appreciate that. Upcoming, we've got a happy hour on the books, not in February. Again, we're just sort of letting the pandemic ease back a little bit. Certainly don't want to talk about that, but we're shooting for a happy hour in March. Love to have you all come out and get to know your neighbors. We'll announce the location later on. We were asked by Seminole Heights Elementary to participate in their spring festival, which they are planning to hold. You see the dates and the times there. If you enjoy doing that kind of thing, Shirley Smith, who is again one of our board trustees, is our point of contact to Seminole Heights Elementary. They'd like us to set up a booth or a table, and the whole idea is to keep the kids reading as they go into spring break this year. So we'd love to have you get involved with that. The home tour is, at this point, it's a go. We're gonna try to pull it off. As most of you know, we've canceled it the last 2 years. So there's the date. We've already got the garden center set aside as our start-stop point, and then we are going to head westward from there, those who participate, to check out some of the houses. And then several of the houses will be around the Front Porch restaurant area. Front Porch agreed to be on the tour. So we're hoping that we'll get a few more houses in that area for you all to enjoy. It's a huge effort for those of you that have been docents or had your houses on the tour. Larry Corwin, for example, appreciate you doing that. You know, it's a lot of work. Lynn Hertak and I are the leads for it. So if you would like to volunteer, shoot us a note and we will find a spot for you as a docent or parking lot attendant or you name it. It is a big project. So at this point, I'm going to just sort of put up a Q&A opportunity. If anybody has any questions, you can dump that into the chat window. And Lynn, is there anything you'd like to add as the Vice President?
No, not right now. But if you know anyone who lives in those areas and might be interested in participating on the tour, we would also be interested in knowing about that. Thank you all for coming out. This was a wonderful turnout. We would really definitely look for the YouTube video, which we will try to fit as many of the links that we talked about tonight as possible.
Sorry about that. I know sometimes y'all just like to see each other, so I'm going to turn the slideshow off and figure out how to do that.
Mauricio is asking about the app. Mauricio, the app is in usage. You can go to the app at any time. You can download it from an app store, which regardless of the type of phone you use, and it includes the calendar of events, all of our blog posts, and upcoming things. So there's also a spot that you can join. So, and QR code to share with neighbors so that they can join too.
And I think Mauricio's hoping that we'll start leveraging the calendar. For those who have ever tried to do this kind of thing in the past, a lot of it's just, we need the information. So if you want to shoot me a note or Lynn in a note, text just a pointer, because we can't keep track of everything that's happening in the neighborhood. We don't want to put everything obviously on our app because there's plenty of other calendars out there. But if it's happening in our neighborhood, we'd love to have it out there to answer. A question from Mona, the meeting at Seventh Sun is at 6:30. And again, that's about the Evelyn Apartments. If you all want to take your, you can turn your cameras on if you like. Myron, your camera image is my favorite at this point. Looks like we're about to take off. Larry, you look great with the beard. Congratulations to Kevin. If you want to unmute yourself, you could tell everybody that Kevin's been selected for triathlete of the universe or something.
Yeah, well, he did. He's a triathlon now, and he did win his last race. He won first in his age group, so he's pretty excited about that. I don't know if everybody at this meeting needed to hear that.
Oh, sure they did. Hey, for a 21-year-old, I'm fairly impressed. And those brownies that he made at Christmas were, my gosh, they were so good. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Michael, I see you kind of tied in recently. Okay, and Patrick, congratulations to you and your wife with the little baby girl. That's huge. I'm still waiting to see the dues for her to come in. I think it's just a $10 a year. Jeffrey.
Tim, there is a comment in chat about the solar issue.
Sorry, I lost my chat.
Basically just that the state is talking about solar panels and from my understanding, making them more expensive. Ashley, if you want to unmute yourself, you can kind of share a little bit.
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, hello. Essentially, there's some legislation that's passed through committee that's looking to reduce, this is a layperson's understanding. So essentially right now, any energy that you produce with your solar panels, the power company has to pay back at the rate that they would charge you for. And so they're looking to reduce that to 25% instead of the rate, kind of the fair going rate, which would then reduce sort of the incentive for and the money that you generate to help pay off solar panels. And they're also looking to potentially create a maintenance fee as well for those with solar panels. So just something to think about. It kind of cuts down the incentive for having solar panels. And I know, a lot of people in our neighborhood have them, and this could greatly affect that move towards green energy. So thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you. That's a great point.
Yeah, so it's called net metering, and that's a good piece of information, because a couple years ago we had the solar co-op, Hillsborough County Solar Co-op, present at our association meeting. In fact, they did several presentations, and I was shocked, frankly, how many neighbors were asking questions. Current payback is around 7 to 8 years on a solar system, but you're right, if you're not able to sell those kilowatts back at the same price that you are buying them for, it changes the calculus significantly. So if you have concerns about that, another way to reach out to the state legislature, I just learned this, is we have 2 individuals that work for the city who spend most of their time in Tallahassee. Lynn, do you recall? It's Whit somebody.
I do not know, but again, we can look for that and put it on the information from this meeting.
Yeah, so that person represents the city of Tampa. I can't remember his name. It's Whit something or other, and he lives in our area, I believe. And so that would be a great person to talk to about those concerns, as well as, of course, your local congressional members. Anybody?
Yes, Mauricio is next with a comment. If you want to unmute yourself and share.
Yeah, so this Saturday is Gasparilla, and we will be joining Gasparilla with our Saturday morning dog pack. So come prepared for some beads, bring your dogs, and come to have some fun. 9:30 is where we meet at Henry Nola Park. We do this every Saturday. We've been doing this for 11 years, and we always celebrate Gasparillas. So if you can make it out, come on out.
Additionally, for those who don't know, going to Epps Park and watching the boats go down to Gasparilla is really fun. Everybody dressed up, they're waving to you. It's a fun time. Amanda had a comment next. Amanda, if you want to unmute yourself and share.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that the city is going to be holding a Zoom meeting to unveil the results of the traffic transportation study for the new Hannah Avenue City Center.
Thank you. Thank you. That is on our radar. We will share that information on our website and on the Facebook page. Thank you so much for that reminder.
Okay, and put the link in the chat. It's February 9th at 6:30.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. I know you sent me a direct message on that today, and I replied, and then I still forgot to put it in the calendar today. So my apologies. I did see Carol Gordon is going to announce that, or push that information out to our neighbors to the east. Quite a few of those neighbors are upset about the project and the way that it was sort of announced and then rapidly pushed through city council. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but thanks for the reminder on the traffic study. That's roughly 500 new employees in our area, which is good in some ways, traffic wise, probably not so good. And then you add on this new apartment at Sly in Nebraska, it's going to be challenging. Brandy, thanks for the reminder about Whit Reamer. He is an attorney, and yes, he's the new sustainability and resilience officer for the city. Got a lot on his plate, and I think we're going to wrap it up. It's 8 o'clock. So again, thanks to everyone for coming out. It's great seeing you all. Can't wait to see you hopefully face to face in March and maybe on the home tour as well. So have a wonderful evening.